So, according to the American Psychological Association, or the APA, defined displaced anger as the direction of hostility away from the source of frustration or anger, or toward either the self or a different entity. Okay, so what that basically means is if you're holding anger towards somebody and you are not addressing it, you're displacing your anger to someone else by taking it out on someone else. Does that make sense? Well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it, okay? So I once had a boyfriend who experienced domestic violence with his ex-wife, and she would bully him and play a lot of tricks with him and manipulate him and all kind of things. And he also went through some childhood trauma that really, traumatized him, that kind of affected his relationships. And so when he got with me, I was a little bit more subtle. He was used to women like telling him what to do and pretty much not giving him his own voice. So when we got together, I was like, dude, have fun with life, enjoy yourself, have your male friends over, go hang out with your male friends. I'm not gonna like every single minute want to know where you are, what you're doing, just check in. And so for him, it was really strange. Even to the point of saying, he said he never chose his meals before. And I was like, what? Like, what would you like to eat and what you don't want to eat? And he says, well, if I don't like it, I just eat it anyway. Okay, well, I don't want to be that woman in your life that makes the meals and you say, I'm going to eat it anyway, even though it was nasty. If you don't appreciate it, I don't want to make it, or I'll make me some or not you some or whatever. Nevertheless, so I was more passive and more acceptive in the sense compared to his ex-wife. And so when we would get into it, he would bully me in the argument or tell me, oh, you're not woman enough to choose my meals, or you've been doing this. I'm not the first man you've been with, so don't you know how to do this? It became really aggressive. And what he was really doing was he was bullying me. And he was bullying me because for the first time he could stand up, bark at a woman, and he wasn't going to have the same reaction. It wasn't going to have what he was used to. He's seen that he could take advantage and stand up like he never could before. And so that's misdirected anger. So getting into the nitty-gritty of it, it's important that we recognize what it is and recognize how we can take care of ourselves with it. Because if it's not corrected, if it's not something that you address, then you're going to project this on your relationships with your significant other, with your children, with your family members, with your co-workers. And we've all been around people. I mean, we've even all went through the experience where something is bothering us and we take it out and bark at the wrong person. And sometimes we even bark at our bosses. And I've even heard stories where people have gotten fired barking at the boss. So there is a way to kind of, let go of this and kind of get past this. There are healthy ways. It's not something that you have to have for the rest of your life. So I found an interesting site, talkspace.com, and it is the displaced anger, the harmful impact of displaced anger, and it was by Myung Chung and Kate Rosenblatt. Okay, Blatt. Anyway, I'll see if I can stick it in later, the link. I'm out and about. So, nevertheless, a lot of people get displaced anger because it's rooted, a lot of things are rooted in childhood. not all things, but a lot of things are rooted in childhood. And so if you've been sexually abused, or physically abused, with women, there are more women that come forward than men about sexual abuse. And I do have to say, I was having this conversation with someone, and I said, women tend to be a little bit more emotionally stronger than men. And my point being is that men are physically strong and women endure a lot of things. That's a whole nother topic that I plan on getting into. But emotionally, we're taught from generation to generation, like, bear it, accept it, bear it, and move forward. No matter how bad it's affecting us, we're taught that it's like part of womanhood, right? And so if you don't do it, yay for you. But if you did, a lot of women experience rape, a lot of women experience sexual abuse, and it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that a lot of men, a lot of boys have experienced it as well, and because of what our society teaches, they never talk about it. And so when you have the misdirection of anger, you have this internalization or an externalization of this misplacement. And this misplacement can cause it to where you keep everything bottled up inside, which can cause a lot of physical health ailments. Keeping things inside can cause a lot of physical health ailments. It wears and tears on your mental, and it wears and tears on your body. So remember, you are what you think. And so if you are constantly keeping all of this inside, your body is getting worn out, and it can cause some physical problems with that. So keep that in mind. But internalizing, I see this more in men than women. Women do it, but I see it more in men because men are taught to be strong, don't cry, don't share that information. And it's heartbreaking. I know someone who will never go and get help, and I really don't know the specifics of what he went through, but it was someone that I dated for a short brief, and I'm really fond of him. Like, I have a lot of love for him, and I think that during the time that we were dating, if he would have asked me to marry him, my heart would have said yes, because I have that much love for him. But my flesh would have known better, my mind would have known better, because he internalized so much, and just to even touch him is a trigger for him. I give off love by touching, but because of some of the things that he's been through, to even touch him it was heartbreaking for me, because I have all this love to give and can't give it to him, and he in turn does not know how to fulfill my love needs. And so those are examples of what I'm talking about. If you don't take care of this misdirection, this misplacement of this anger, I think I heard TD Jakes call it the misplacement of rage. Like, you're upset, you're frustrated about what has happened in your life, and you've become a victim, and now you are holding all of this information in and projecting it on someone else, and usually it's someone who's good to you. So internalizing is where you're holding it all inside. You really don't want to talk about it. You have a lot of things that you react to, you trigger from, and nobody really understands you, nobody really gets you, because you're holding all of this stuff deep inside. Where externalizing it is where you are just rambunctiously, vomiting at the mouth, taking it out on any and everybody, like verbally, like you are letting this stuff out. And we've all been through when significant other or your child walks in the house, or maybe even a parent to the child walks through the door and they're like, hey, how'd your day go today? Why are you asking me about my day today? Like, why do you even care about today? Think about your own day. Like, whoa, right? That just came out of nowhere. And I'm hoping you got the same impact as I projected it onto you, because that's exactly how it is. And they might not even recognize it. And if you say, like, hey, whoa, slow down, like, what's going on? They're going to go, what do you mean? Well, no, you slow down. What's wrong with you? Because they're in that denial. They're in that denial from the get-go. And whatever has triggered them, sometimes they may not even know. It could be a smell that triggers them. And so you just need to know that information about them. I'm sorry, I kind of went somewhere else in my head saying know that information, but if it's your significant other, it's important that you share that information of your past. And if you know about their past, then you kind of go, haha, I know what that is. But at the end of the day, remember, especially if you're not married, we're not our significant other's therapist. And no matter how much they beg you, ask you, plead with you, please, trust me from experience, it's a compromising situation you do not want to be in, because you're not the savior. Okay, so pull back, retreat. The best thing that you can do is just hope that they get help and stay on your knees and pray. Anyway, a lot of these exposures come from, what makes them displaced comes from some traumatic experience in their life, multiple traumas, definitely. Divorce, even some of the trauma of losing an animal early or in a really bad way. I was going down a slide once, and I left the chain on my dog, and he ran down. He chased he ran up the ladder, to go down the slide with me. But I didn't know that. I didn't know he ran up behind me. I'm looking all over for him. Charlie, where are you at? His name was Charlie. And so I'm looking, and I look up, and on the slide, his chain has gotten caught, and he's choking to death. I don't know. God gave me the adrenaline to save that dog, and I did. It was tough trying to stay on the slide, but can you imagine? I think I probably was about 9 at the time. Can you imagine that if I just would have saw that and freaked out, and my dog died just like that? It could have been traumatizing, and that could have been something that puts anger in me. Smelling a dog, somebody has a dog, it could trigger that incident. So I wanted to share stuff like that. Divorce, bullied in school. Y'all know I've been bullied when I was in school. So that can cause that. Even worse, being bullied by a teacher. Definitely. So that was a trigger for me, as I had a niece who committed suicide over being bullied by a teacher. So domestic abuse in the house, all kind of stresses can trigger different reasons of why someone would have this kind of displaced anger inside. And so I don't want to take up a lot of time, because I don't want to take up a lot of time. I just want you to be aware of it so that you can start taking care of yourself. So if you have this displaced anger, I'm going to give you some tips based on the Talkspace.com. I'm going to give you those tips, and I'm going to let you know. I'm just going to go forward. So they state in Talkspace therapist Ming-Yang Chong states, misdirected anger is an unconscious defense mechanism used to display anger and aggression towards individuals who are not involved in the stressors that are causing the anger. It usually occurs because the individual has poor coping skills and or poor impulse control. All right, so Um, the effects of this misdirected anger, relationship issues, workspace issues. Remember, I've talked about that, and some tips that could help you. They give 6, and so I'm gonna go through them really fast. Is walking away from the situation, finding, and they give you more details. So I really encourage you to go to their website. Walking away from the situation, find a healthier way to process your anger. So there's this thing that I do with some of my clients, and I tell them to go through their 6 senses. 6 sense, 5 sense, but there's a joke about it in the 6 sense, but to go through their 5 senses, like tell them to listen for something right now, hear one thing right now, to smell 2 things right now, touch 3 things right now, things of that nature. So I kind of do that with them when they're going through their angers. When they're going through their anger, you can't process cognitive what's going on with matching your senses and staying angry. You can't do it. Your emotions it won't allow you to do that. And so it's just something that I tell them, hey, kind of do this little trick. So things like that, finding easier way to process your anger. I remember getting into arguments with my significant other, and I said, you know what, I just need time to process. No, you get irritated. You're always processing. Give me time to process what just happened. Maybe I'm in the wrong, so let me just kind of process it. Relax. Do whatever it takes to relax. You've walked away, you like the outdoors, go and relax, do the outdoor. You like sitting in your car. Obviously, I'm always in my car. Do that. I like smelling nature, so actually taking leaves, flowers, things like that calms me down. Or the beach in itself, just taking a nice whiff of the beach really calms me down. It relaxes me. So do whatever it takes. Short walks, sit outside. Call a friend or a family member, someone that you know that calms you down. When my son was younger, he'd get really, really angry, and as I've shared before, my kids have dealt with some behavioral issues and attention deficit, and he would get so angry, and they knew the protocol, and they would call me on the phone, and I'd say, what's up, fella? What's up, my man? What's going on? And he would express what happened, and all he needed to do was express what happened, and I would say, so we're gonna have a better day, right? Yeah. So call up that friend that just makes you feel better about the situation, that's not going to egg it and keep going, well, it's because, no, that friend that's really going to be thinking about your health, your benefit. Like, how are you feeling now? What would you like to do? Like, you really enjoy doing so-and-so, so go out and do it, or let's go do it together. So things of that nature. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. This is called having empathy. I'm going to read what they have. It helps to try and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Ask yourself, did they deserve your anger? That's like most important, is when you snap and somebody snaps back, did they deserve your anger? Now remember, if you apologize to the person, they may not be accepting your apology right then and there. Either you may have triggered something in their past that they have to deal with, but you've done your part. Move on. Just because you apologize doesn't mean that everything is great at that moment, like instantly. So give them time to process your apology, and give them time to really think, get over their own the hurt that they felt. Just give them the opportunity. Just because you said the words, it still takes time. So give them that. And then ask yourself, was the anger that you had justifiable to them? So, sort of like the first one, but yeah, there's some other tips they give you. So, you can come back and go back to the conversation later with a more relaxed and calm mood. Yes. You can say, hey, can we come back to this at another time? Can we come back to it tomorrow? Today's not a good time. Sometimes they're hard to schedule. You might say, let's come back in an hour. In an hour, it's just not enough to process it all. And if that's your style, then you say, you know what, this hour just wasn't good enough. Just give me a little bit more time, and don't get angry. Don't get angry. And my most favorite one is to see a therapist, of course. Therapy is good for everybody, even the therapist. Even we have our therapist. A good therapist will have a therapist. And so I know in African American families that we don't like to share all our information with therapists, especially Caucasian therapists. You know, it's part of the generations of things that we know from our past that have hurt us bad, and it's ancestral things that, you know, we don't really trust. But give it a whirl, and you don't like that therapist, try another. You can seek African American therapists, or Latina or Asian or whatever. You can seek all kinds of therapists, but you have the right to interview your therapist just as well as you want to know that they're a good fit for you. You need to learn their modalities. I know I still haven't did it yet. But you need to learn their modalities to see if their style fits with you. And you need to be open, because there might be a modality that works with you that you didn't even know it worked. So too much information, having too much wisdom can sometimes hinder you in the success rate of what you do, because you'll be focused on this, not knowing that you've expanded to that. All right. And so, I'm just looking over to make sure that's all I wanted to share with them. But yeah, this displaced anger is really what I wanted to talk about, or how it impacts and how you can take care of yourself. Remember, this is self-care time. This is a healthier you. And a lot of people don't like therapists. I get that. You only get to see a therapist once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 3 weeks, depending on your therapist, your medical coverage. And right now, I know some things are a little scarce, and you're trying to stretch out your nice 8 sessions or whatever. And so if you want to talk to a life coach during that, it's a good thing. Some people don't believe in them. I get that part. I'm a life coach, and so a therapist and a life coach, so I get that. And I do see the significance of having life coaches that are good at what they do. And just because they have certificates and everything, people can get certificates online. So you're looking for somebody who really cares about you and can make sure that if your therapist is helping you with something, your life coach can help you get through the daily, every other day, the time in between the therapist, to help you focus more on, if the therapist is telling you, you really need to focus on, getting back to work so that you feel good about yourself. The life coach is there to say, all right, let's see what we can do to kind of get you back to work. So, and every life coach has their specialties. And so I am soliciting. And so it's my channel, right? And so I'm a life coach. And if you if you want my services, I would appreciate that. I will walk you through. I do not do therapy because it's kind of bump heads, and so I don't do therapy. If I'm life coaching you, I'm life coaching you, but I will support what your therapist is doing. I will help you to understand what your therapist is doing, and work with your therapist, if that's what you want, to kind of help you reach the goal that you're trying to accomplish. And so, yeah, you know how to contact me via email is the best way. BEMOTIVATEDTM at gmail.com. That's BeMotivatedTM at gmail.com. And yeah, I really encourage you to get a therapist to kind of help you weed out the anger and help you to be a better you. So I love you all. You know I do. And so you're all in my prayers. Really, you are. The people I know, they're a little bit more personal prayers. And the people that I don't know, I still include you in my prayers. And much love. Take care of you. Bye.